on differentiating and balancing time versus energy. And if you've been hanging around in power coaching for a while, this probably isn't a new concept. We talk about energy a lot, and in a lot of our work as being something we manage in ourselves and in our life. And you may even have done some of the exercises around balancing your energy through time, through your day. But I encourage you, when I'm recording this, it's coming into a holiday season where, regardless of whether you celebrate or how you celebrate, there always is less time just because there's more going on in the world. We're coming up on the end of the year, so there's a lot of things that have to get done at the end of the year in addition to whatever celebrations might be available. So it's a good time to practice this concept, and I would encourage you all to use this lesson and take a check-in with yourself about how you're balancing your energy and how you're managing your energy instead of your time. I don't mean to suggest that time isn't important. It's very important. But we get very focused on managing our time. Our calendars and all of our tools manage time. And even though there are some tools that help you manage your energy, at the end of the day, only you kind of know at any point in time how you feel, how much energy you feel. It doesn't matter how many tools you have. The only tool you need is your own energy meter, which we introduced in Core Practice 4, and we've used in some of these other lessons. And this is yet another way to think about using it. But in this context, what I really want to focus on is this idea that balance is possible, or is it? And we talk about having work-life balance, and some people like that idea, and some people don't. They're like, oh, there is no work-life balance, or balance isn't the goal. We should have it blended. And I happen to subscribe to blending myself. But, the idea of balance is important here, and what I mean specifically is that think about balancing like a seesaw or a teeter-totter, right? If you're trying to achieve balance, what you're doing is micro adjustments. You're adjusting constantly. Oh, a little too far on that side, so I need to counter this side. And think about how you balance, physically, how you balance things. You become very attuned to where you are in and out of balance, and then you adjust in kind of micro ways. And the way we get off balance is by not noticing soon enough that we're getting out of balance. And so the idea of managing your energy as opposed to your time is that balancing time doesn't really make sense, but balancing energy does. And there are two dimensions that are important when you think about balancing your energy. And the point of balancing your energy is to have energy, to never let yourself get so depleted that you're coming back from a deficit, because that's a lot of work. It's stressful. It takes even more energy to build up your energy. Think about when you get sick and you can't work out, or when you travel and you can't eat right, and then trying to get back into that kind of balanced sense of taking care of your body and your energy levels becomes so hard because you've been out of whack for a long time now. And so those things happen, and one of the ways that we can look at managing our energy is to look at the time frame we try to manage it in. So when you're going to have to travel and you're going to be eating like you normally don't eat, and maybe you don't get as much time for working out, you can look at it and say, okay, I'm going to be traveling for 1 week. What can I do in that week when I'm traveling to manage my energy levels that I don't normally do when I'm at home? And maybe it's not a week, maybe it's 2 days. Maybe at home, you go day by day and pretty soon you realize you're out of balance. Well, what if you were trying to keep a balanced sense of energy on a daily basis? Would you be making decisions differently? And this is what it ultimately comes down to. When you're balancing on that seesaw or teeter-totter, you're noticing when you're out of balance and making micro adjustments. You want to do that same thing. You want to get in the practice of doing that same thing with your energy through a day or through a week. Sometimes I have a lot going on in a week, and I go, okay, I'm going to have some out of balance days. I know that. There's nothing I can do about that because I have to be on my feet talking for 8 hours on Tuesday and Thursday, and I don't the other days. So Tuesday and Thursday are going to be different. And what balance means on those days is different. So I don't yeah, I think about balancing those days, but I'm really thinking about my week. How can I take advantage of Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to resuscitate so that at the end of the week I'm not completely depleted? Versus a normal week where I would look at each day. And what I'm encouraging you to do with this lesson, and I give you this sort of mini worksheet here, a way to think about making sure you know what's costing you energy, and then looking and strategizing what can you do to make sure that every day you're not just doing things that take your energy, that you're also doing things that give you back energy. And it's different for each one of us what that is. But as we come into the holidays, or if you're not watching this in the holidays, think about another stressful time you have coming up. Maybe travel, maybe a project, maybe a family event or series of events that are coming. And there's always things we don't know, but try to look ahead at some things are going to be stressful, and ask yourself, what decisions can I make now in advance, and then during the time can I make to make sure my energy never gets too depleted at any point in time. And if you turn this into a practice and you say, yeah, my calendar has to make sense, I can't be in two places at once, but I'm not really going to worry about having 4 hours every week at the gym, and not get really hung up on the time goals as much as your energy goals, and see how you make decisions differently. I suspect that you will, and both are important, but when you give weight to managing your energy and making the decisions necessary to make sure you always have the energy you need, you'll find yourself making decisions about how you use your time that otherwise would have seemed kind of crazy, but they feel really good. An example of that is just that, I always had this trouble. People would say, well, when you're stressed out during the day, take a half an hour and go for a walk. And I was just like, I can't spare a half an hour. I can't go for a walk. And I began to realize when I was paying attention to my energy that going for a walk wasn't all that helpful if I just took all my work with me, and I just kept thinking about all those phone calls I was going to make when I got back, or all those emails I was going to send. But when I went for a walk with a different intention, an intention to kind of take my mind away from those things so that I could come back fresh to them. And during that time, I'd listen to a podcast, or I would think about a different kind of a problem, whatever. All of a sudden, that short walk, 15 minutes, 20 minutes in the middle of the day, started to really make a difference in my energy levels. And so again, when you're trying to solve the teeter-totter problem, you're making micro adjustments. You may one day take a walk in the middle of the day because you just need to clear your mind, and the next day, nope, you go on through because you're high. You're doing good. I mean, yes, you're working hard. Yes, you're getting physically tired, but you're loving what you're doing, and so you don't need a walk that day. You just keep going, and then make sure at the end of the day that you resuscitate yourself physically if you're physically depleted, even if you're still emotionally or mentally high. So I'm just encouraging you to take some time this month to practice this and be intentional about this, and thinking about your energy as distinct from your time, and managing your energy first and your time second, and see how things change in your life. I bet they will. I look forward to our call on this topic and our discussion down below. Take care.